Privilege is defined as being a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. Society grants privilege to people because of certain aspects of their identities, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, location, ability, and religion, to name a few. Aspects such as race and location show that you are born into different circumstances, and these differing circumstances have a power to create outcomes throughout your whole life. Circumstances that have ability to conceive a higher quality of life are seen as privileges. All basic infrastructures operate on the assumption that being Pākehā is the societal norm, encouraging this notion of privilege. People's experiences with marginalisation and discrimination form a continuum where being poor and non-white has the greatest consequences. Imagine this. You got tickets to a sold-out concert in Auckland. You haven't always been able to afford to go to things like this, so you're super excited you finally have the chance to see your favourite band perform for one night only. On the day of the concert, you arrive an hour before to line up early to try and get as close as you can, seeing as though you weren't able to afford the best seats in the house. However, it seems that other people have had this idea too. But all is fine because at least you're there, right? The gates open up and there's a mad frenzy to get to the front. People are passing you, and before you know it, you're being pushed to the back, struggling on your tippy toes to catch a glimpse of the band you are oh so excited to watch. The music starts to play to your favourite song, but you can't even see the stage. You're gutted. After the concert ends, you jump onto Instagram and see a friend's post. They were able to afford VIP tickets, so they had the best seat in the house, combined with meeting the band backstage. It sucks. You wish that could have been you. Looking at this scenario, we can directly relate this to privilege. Your circumstance meant that because you were only able to afford the cheapest seat, it affected the outcome and therefore the experience you had at the concert. Your friend that had a VIP ticket had an amazing time and thus was more privileged. A person's circumstances can not only definitely affect what opportunities are available to them, but the quality as well in terms of what schools or universities they may be able to attend. Is education a privilege? Yes. For some people, you can achieve anything you set your mind to, and if you work hard enough, your dream will become a reality. This mindset is said to be applicable to everyone, but for a lot of people, opportunities are limited. A little girl may one day want to grow up to be an astronaut and travel to the moon, but if her family are not in a financial position to support this crazy aspiration, it is highly unlikely she will ever be given the chance to even try. In New Zealand, privilege is very prevalent within the education system. One example is school zoning. Seeing rid of school zoning was induced through the neoliberal idea that competition would benefit society, with the belief that if a parent was to not enroll in a local school or draw their child from that school, then it would send a message to that school that work needed to be done and therefore improvement would be made. Having a freedom of choice as to where and what school you could send your child to was strongly applauded, but it soon became evident that inequality was emerging. Families from lower socioeconomic backgrounds became disadvantaged, while those higher in the hierarchy became more privileged. A study found that this led directly to the polarization of student intakes along class and ethnic lines, thus exacerbating existing social inequality. Assuming the role of privilege, zoning creates clubs of like-minded, like-class families where their shared interest enforces the protection of education privilege that their commonality enables them to provide for their children. The current system, as acknowledged within the Tomorrow Schools report, does not support all people in their education and does not allow for them to thrive. The Program for International Student Assessment shows that the gap between our highest and lowest performers is wide compared with other countries, and we have fewer students from poor homes who perform well. Unlike some other OECD countries, we have not narrowed the gap in performance between students caused by differences in socio-economic status. The current recommendations within the Tomorrow Schools report indicate that there is a need to achieve equity. The government has acknowledged that there are disparities in the education system, and now it's time to piece it together. For our country to become more socially cohesive and for our people to appreciate the experiences of others whose lives and circumstances may be different from their own, it is vital that schooling is inclusive. If we can address these issues of privilege, the social and economic benefits for all of New Zealand will be enormous.